Can you imagine? Welcome to the Mostly Alive Backpack Show.
I mean, we've done it if we've ever pre-recorded like our holiday hellos from
Oh, that's
previous
true.
guests.
That's true.
I guess
Good.
that would be like a third. No, that's like probably
Partially live.
2/3 live. Yeah.
Right. Well, how do you get Sir Mix-a-Lot? It's early in the morning for him. He doesn't want to come back at that time of day just to wish us happy holidays. So
I know.
you got to bend some curves there. Happy Backpack Show Thursday, the fourth one so far in this month of February. The fourth day in the month of February.
Yes.
What? I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. I have nothing. What are we doing today? What's happening? It's madness.
Usually you do a weather update, so just the date is like a step down, I think.
Well,
but
that's 21 inches or so of snow has turned into like a few inches of who cares. So it's not very
that's
fun.
good. Yeah, my favorite thing about living up there was when people would plow and then all the snow and ice, like the grubby stuff, would come back and make a wall of ice in front of your driveway. That's
So you still couldn't get out.
Favorite. But now I live in Nashville, where a half inch of snow will shut down the whole city for a week. So
So
no
what
more
if we had some
plows.
guests? What would they be about today?
Well, we would talk with Alicia Cunningham, writer, photographer, documentary filmmaker. Her film, I Am More Than My Hair, is part of her project to open up different conversations about beauty that go beyond the traditional mold. We'll talk with her about that. We'll also talk with Elayne Fluker, author of the book Get Over, I Got It: How to Stop Playing Superwoman, Get Support, and Remember That Having It All Doesn't Mean Doing It Alone. So we're going to talk about that.
And I'm about guaranteed to say "get over it." I got it because I only said that about 830 times every time I went to say it. So
Well, just maybe don't say it. Let's just let her say it.
Elayne wrote some book with some words.
Hi, everyone. Tim Kitzrow from NBA Jam and NFL Blitz, welcoming you to The Backpack Show. Your hosts, Chris Brogan, Kerry Gargone, Boom Shakalaka.
Backpack Show.
I think her message is really timely because a lot of people think that the definition of success is being like a self-made person and doing it all by yourself. But when we had Lual Mayan on, if you'll remember, who made the video game Salam, he said he gave up the right to be a self-made man when his mother saved up for a couple of years to buy him a laptop in the refugee camp in Uganda. He was like, I'm not a self-made man. As soon as someone else invests in your success, you are not a self-made success anymore. Right.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's a good callback too. That was a great episode. We all have great episodes. I can only name a few clunkers.
I feel like I'm just also here. I just feel so lucky to even be here to talk with Elayne and Alicia and people who are doing this important work. So
That's right.
But we have a couple of sponsors we have to thank first.
Aren't you good at that? Oh, you're so good. Oh my gosh. Listen, you should know that our guest Elayne also has her own show. And guess what she uses to make it? I'll tell you what. Hey, Joanne. StreamYard. She has StreamYard. So you can make your own show on StreamYard, just like Elayne. cbrogan.me/StreamYard. Make your own dang show. It's so easy. It's why we make this show look so good. You could do it. I believe in you.
You don't need Carrie. You just need StreamYard.
That's right. I didn't make a little thing for him yet for Castos. I'm working on it. I made a new ending for him. So we're sponsored by Castos, our new audio podcast. CASTOS, castos.com. You'll get one up there. Johnsonville, do you like sausage? Boy, do I love sausage. Get yourself a nice cheddar bratwurst.
Such a weirdo.
If you really want to just stick it to a vegan, eat a delicious cheddar bratwurst.
Oh my God, stop it. You can invite your vegan friends. You can give them some mushroom jerky from
from Eat the Change.
And you can have a Johnsonville brat and we can all live in peace together.
That's just like John Lennon thought. All right, listen, if you're an author like Elayne, you can make a website, lickety-split easy. Nothing to it. Couple hours, you're done. pub-site.com. We know because we watched it demoed live in front of us and couldn't get over. As a guy who's made websites since the mid-90s, I can tell you that this is the real deal. pub-site.com. It's $20 a month after your 14-day free trial. 2 weeks free, bioshes.
It's stupid easy. Definitely try it. I would like get the website here and then write the book. It's that easy to use this.
And if you're a lazy little pony, don't worry about it. They can make the whole website for you for $499 United States dollars.
You know what? Ponies work hard. I feel like that's offensive.
Offensive to ponies?
Yeah.
I'll wait till the Pony Association of America writes me.
Ponies work hard. Do you ever see them? Especially the poor ones that got to walk in a circle with little kids on them at birthday parties and stuff. That is hard work.
You know who works hard for the money? She does. I'm going to bring Elayne on because we have to figure out what this book is about. Get Over. I got this.
Yes.
See, one time.
Get Over, I got it.
I got it. Elayne, hi, how are you?
I'm good. So how are you? Thank you both for having me. I know, you're so close. You're so close.
Help me get over it. There you go.
Get Over,
I got it. Yeah. So it's like I got it syndrome. So the way you can think about it, Chris, especially for unapologetically ambitious women, what we tend to say whenever someone offers us support is, I got it. It's okay. I got it. No, no, no. I got it. I got it. So that's where get over I got it comes from. It's I got it syndrome. We need to be open to support.
In all the different ways that you can get it. Look how glorious you look on that cover. I mean, you're not supposed to judge books by covers, but come on now.
Please judge it if you judge it positively.
Woo, very positive. That is
Careful now. I got my finger on that yellow card button.
Don't do it. I'm being as polite as I could possibly.
Go ahead and order 10 copies while you're there.
I like your thinking. When's it come out again? What's our pre-order before? May 11th.
May 11th, but you can pre-order now at getoverIgotIt.com. We got some special bonuses there, some workbooks, some fun stuff.
Let me explain to people too that what really helps Elayne out is if you find this really useful, if you pre-order it, that tells Amazon, hey, you know something?
Yes.
This is probably going to be kind of a winner. That tells all the book companies. Let's not just signal out Amazon, but
Yes.
Amazon.
Thank you. And something I learned from, I'm sure you already know this, Chris, but I learned from my book publicist was that all the pre-orders go in at the same time, the night, I guess, either before it released or the actual day it released. So I'm thinking if someone orders 10 copies, I get credit for that today. And she's like, it's better you get as many pre-orders as you can. And then they all go in that night, 1,000 or whatever it's going to be. So yes,
that's how it works.
Pre-orders. That's what I'm told. I don't know. I didn't know that.
And you get a gift.
And you get a gift.
Did you ever suffer from I got it syndrome?
Yes, absolutely. I attended a workshop actually in 2015 called Momentum. And during that time, it's like a personal development workshop in New York. And during that time, I learned by looking at other people who were in the group who were like leaders of their industries, from actors to politicians and people of all different backgrounds. There were two things that were hardest for us to ask for: love and support. And by hard, I mean like boohoo crying, don't make me do it in front of anyone, I don't want to ask. And seeing that myself reflected in them made me be like, maybe I have a problem asking for support too. So after the workshop, you usually go back after a great workshop, like that was fantastic. Now I'm going to go back to my raggedy ways, doing the same thing I've always done. Instead, I wanted to change. So I started saying this phrase to myself as a sort of personal mantra: support is sexy. Support is sexy. Support is sexy. Support is sexy, to make me want to ask for support in a way that doesn't feel like I'm, giving up some kind of part of my life or showing people that I'm incompetent. And that's how it started. And then I started saying it to other women, and then I could see them sort of light up like, oh yeah, support is sexy. I could do that. And there are other booksellers other than Amazon. We have independent bookstores. Yes. Bookshop.org is a great one.
I was just thinking about that.
Yes.
But yes, Chip, the world is very big. So support is sexy. That's actually a podcast you do as well.
Exactly. It's a podcast I've been doing since July 4th, 2016. And on the podcast, we're like 700 something episodes in. I've interviewed over 500 women entrepreneurs all around the world. So the podcast is about the stories and journeys of women entrepreneurs, but the premise of it is really asking these women how they got support along the way. I mean, as we talked about earlier, it's not about being self-made. Well, even if you say you're self-made, you still didn't do it all by yourself.
Right.
Someone was there to help you in some way, even if it's just your customers. If you're selling a product or doing something, someone helped you along the way. So it's about just shifting this mindset around support. I think now, with everything we've all been through, especially the past year, now more than ever, we have to realize how connected we all are,
Why don't women ask for support? What is it that makes us so emotionally reluctant to do it?
Yeah. I usually say there's three reasons, the 3 Ds as I call them. Usually it's because we're defensive, right? So if someone asks us if we need support, say you're in the office and you're trying to move up, and the reality is that women still get paid less than men and all these other societal reasons. We're not blaming it on that, right, Carrie? But I'm saying that's how it is, right?
It is. Yep. 70 cents on the dollar.
There's a reason that I might not ask for support, because I might be judged differently. So you might be defensive, like, no, I got it. Another reason is we're defiant. If we reached a certain level, or we're doing things as a mom all by myself, like, how dare you think I need support? It's as if it's saying something about me that you're even offering. And then the other is defeated. Sometimes it's just like, okay, I'm the one that always gets it. I'm the one that always makes the appointment for vaccines in my family. I'm the one that always does everything. So I guess I got it. So those are usually the reasons. And it's based in, I say, there are, like I said, societal reasons that we might feel like we can't ask, but we got to change that.
Chip says he was joking, by the way. that he knows there's
Oh,
other booksellers. So I guess
no,
that's
but I think
good.
that's a good. I support independent bookstores. In fact, I mean, Amazon it sucks you in, so it is as easy to buy from them. But definitely, if you can, support an indie bookstore.
Elayne, it's really hard to ask for that help. I mean, you have to do a little bit of personal work before you can ask for that help, because you have to accept that this doesn't mean you're bad, or that maybe people won't be judging you when you say, "Could you pick it up a little bit?" How do you help people understand that? How do you help people understand that it's not your worst day when you ask for a little bit of help?
Yeah, I love that. That word help is actually an acronym that I use for myself to remember how to ask for support. So the H, I say having it all doesn't mean doing it all alone, right? Like we said about being self-made, it's not about doing it all by yourself. E is ask empowered questions. So the question is, why am I such a jerk? Why haven't I figured this out yet? The question is, okay, this is what I want to create. I want to have a show on StreamYard like Chris and Carrie. What do I need to do to learn more about StreamYard? Who might I ask for some support? What are the things that I can look into to find out more about this? Those are more empowered questions than, again, why can't I figure this out? Or I should have done a show already. Why am I not doing it? The L is to let go of the how and live the question. So live the question is something I learned from a woman, Patricia Moreno, who was on my show, episode like 21 or something. We don't have favorites, but she's one that I mention all the time, right? No favorites, no favorite kids, but there's just one kid that you just happen to talk about all the time, right? And she talked about the courage to live the question. So I think a lot of us, as men too, Chris, you let us know, but certainly as women, we feel like we have to have the answers. If you're a mom, you got to have the answers. At work, you got to have the answers. She talked about the courage to be open and live the question. So how can I create a show that shares my voice on StreamYard that does all the, just live the question. You don't have to know the answer, and then it'll show up for you. And then the P is believing in the possibilities. You got to believe that you can start a show, right? That you can get the support that is going to show up for you. So keeping that in mind just sort of helps you go through that process of, okay, having it all doesn't mean doing it all alone. I'm going to ask empowered questions. I'm going to live that question and let go of how the answer shows up. Then I'm going to believe that the possibility of support is there for me.
It's amazing, isn't it, that we'll think we want to do something but can't, but never say to anyone that we want to do that thing. It's
That's
like
right.
the universe isn't going
Like
to
I'm
deliver
gonna,
for you. Nobody
I
knows
know
that you
you're
need
keeping
help.
it secret,
Right.
exactly. And people think someone's going to steal my idea, and I mean, that happens, but I think less often than not. Usually, if it's your idea and you're going to do it, especially if it's something particular, not everyone's going to be like, "Yeah, I want to go through all the trouble of learning how to podcast and start a show and do it." Nah, most people aren't good. Just do it, right? Just do it
Right?
and get some support. Yes, we like they say, don't worry about problems you don't have.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about problems you don't have.
You don't have a problem.
Kara was talking a little bit about vulnerability. She was saying, it's a little hard to kind of be vulnerable. Oh, by the way, my favorite kid's my oldest kid, Vince.
Shut up,
It's the kid you talk about the most. Not your favorite.
Chris.
I
I mean,
always say that.
I am my parents' favorite kid too, but I just, I'm the
That's
one they
right.
talk about the most.
That's right. I can't express whether or not my little brother is more favorited, but my parents are both here watching my show, so
Well, your brother doesn't have
they
a
wake up at
show.
7 a.m. for that, Elayne.
Oh, nice.
Of
They
course,
love
Carol
you.
doesn't have a favorite kid because those feelings aren't nice.
I have a favorite kid. Listen, back to this, feeling vulnerable thing though. When you help other people, when somebody comes to you for some help, which is rare, right? People don't knock your door down asking for help all the time. When they do you feel like, oh, what a terrible person. I can't believe this person asked me for help. Do you start calling everybody you know? What
No.
happens when that time comes? So talk a little bit about that. Maybe that's helpful. Maybe people could see the mirror of like when you provide help, and they'll maybe be a little more willing to ask for it when it's their turn.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. It's not asking for a savior, it's asking for support, right? People think asking for support means, oh, I can't do anything. I've given up. I'm weak. I'm all these other reasons. And this is why I'm asking for support. No, support is different than asking for a savior, not saying, do this for me. I'm just going to sit back and watch you work. So, and I never, anytime someone comes to me for support, if I can help in some way, whether it's an introduction or whether it's something else, I absolutely try to. But don't feel, I will say though, you want to be aware of takers and givers. Like we're not saying for someone who's giving support, just give until,
Right.
your cup is empty and that kind of thing. That's a whole other conversation, right? So you do want to be aware of that. But most people are happy to help or share and make it. And I will say this, Chris, make it easy for someone to help you. Don't come to Chris and say, well, I shouldn't say don't. It might be more difficult to come to Chris and say, can you mentor me? And then to come to him at some event and say, can you tell me one thing that I should do if I want to have a great show, et cetera, or one platform that I should be on? If it, and the way that you can, make it easy for people to support you. So that's something that I usually advise people to.
That's true. If they can't envision what it looks like, mentoring could mean hours and hours and hours of,
Mentoring could mean you're trying to suck my life.
Yes.
In someone's interpretation, it might not, but it's
Right.
like, oh my God, no, I can't do. But if you really, what you wanted is to find out one step to move you forward, and then he might have more. Not to talk about you like you're not here, Chris, but then Chris might.
Oh, I do it all the time.
I'm a spokesperson, but then he may have more time to give you more. But if you start off with one thing that you can help me with someone you don't know, or if it's your boss, what's one thing that I can do better in order to move forward, as opposed to, can you give me a review? It's like, okay. Because then you're giving me work to do.
Chris is probably a terrible example, though, because he gives people all sorts of support all the time. I mean, it's a wonderful example, but you know what I mean. If you were to say, can you mentor me, he would probably do it.
He'd probably be like, yeah, anything you want. Yeah. Take my soul. No.
What do you need? I'm sure it's out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Before all this and before this book and all that, there's a lot to you. What's the rise? What's the start? Where were you bitten by that radioactive spider that got you on this journey, Supergirl?
Oh my gosh. I love that. I've been a writer as long as I can remember. I mean, my mom has all the little scribbles on paper. I just love the feeling of old school writing. Now today writing means this, right? But actually writing, we learned cursive in school. I'm that age, right? How to actually write. And a typewriter. I used to be on a typewriter even when I didn't know how to spell. So it was just always something that I loved to do. And then I never knew that you could be a writer, that was actually a job that normal people got, until I got out of college. I studied English in college, then I got out and started in publishing a couple of years after my career at Essence magazine at the time. So that was 1996. So that's 20 something years ago.
I wouldn't say that normal people become writers, Elayne.
Normal, I know, weirdos. Exactly. Right. You're right. Writers are weirdos. I love it. I am one. But yeah, and then I started my career in media, started in print publishing, then moved to digital as the industry continued to change, then video. And then in 2016, started my podcast. And that's sort of been the focus from a content production standpoint, if you will. But it was important for me to get not only my voice out there, but at the time, I just felt like there weren't a lot of shows, not saying they didn't exist, but for me, featuring women entrepreneurs who weren't sharing the story of, I launched a program over the weekend and made $1 million. And I'm like, who? But my friends and I entrepreneurs, and we're like, girl, I need to get a job. Like, what is this? This is crazy. So I needed to hear those stories of when women had those problems problems, issues, challenges along the journey.
Do you think that comes from the same place of insecurity, Elayne, where people are like, oh, I just put dinner in the crock pot and went for a 5-mile run, and now I'm just going to do some Pilates before I do my startup, big IPO or whatever this afternoon?
Exactly. Well, social media, I think, has, tainted us all a little bit. Social media is great, but for some of us now, it's just become the highlight reel. And then we all believe it. So even sometimes when someone posts a beautiful picture, have you seen these incredible pictures of women who are, no judgment, doing yoga and breastfeeding at the same time?
No.
I don't know what's happening, but it's a thing. And I'm just like, that is next level. I'm a superwoman. Watch me work. I don't know. But anyway, if you see that, even if she's just, hey, this is how I normally do it for whatever reason, if I see that as a mom, I'm like, I'm failing at life if I can't do, I might feel that way, but it's just, I'm judging the picture.
Just breastfeeding is hard. Like,
I know.
Sorry,
I'm so sorry to take us down that road. Let's not even. But I'm just
no,
like,
it is though.
That you see these pictures and it's like, how am I? So yeah, there might be some feelings there. You catch feelings or feel some kind of way. Like,
well, I'm just thinking about women supporting women. And being vulnerable enough to ask for support. I can't think how much harder it must be to ask for support when you spend all your waking hours posting this perfect, image of yourself online, looking like you don't need a thing from anybody.
Exactly. That's right.
Then you've got to overcome that.
You have to overcome it as the person who's posting, and then whoever's following you probably has to overcome it as the person who's buying into it. But in my book, I actually say sometimes a pretty picture is just a pretty picture. Like, just, don't judge it. They're away on vacation, whatever. Oh, that's pretty, and move on with your life. Your life is your life. You're doing your thing. You stay focused and get support for your dreams, right? That's her dream. And I have friends, fantastic, fabulous, beautiful, wonderful friends who are doing all the things with all the celebrities on all the beaches you can imagine. And they call me like, oh my God, I'm so sad. So it's real. A lot of it is not necessarily as glamorous or always as glamorous as we think. It's certainly
Earlier
glamorous.
this week, Elayne, we had another author on, a debut novelist, Matteo Ascaripour, who wrote the book Black Buck. And one of the things, it's like a sales guide / novel. It's actually amazing. Check it out. But one of the things in there, he says, is if you hear something and you don't like it, just forget it. Like, forget it the second you hear it. Just flush it. Because otherwise you can't continue with the interaction or whatever you're trying to do if you're focused on that thing you didn't like. So he's like,
you get stuck there. Just flush it.
Yep.
I like that. Flush it.
Easier
I mean, he used better words than that because he's a novelist.
I know. I like
the idea.
flush it is a visual for me.
Yeah, like if you hear something you don't like, forget it immediately.
That takes practice.
It's a big world out there. So we have supportisexy.com to go and check out that podcast.
Go get the book. Go get the book. Oh, he left. He went away. He'll be back. He'll be back. So we're about to bring Alicia out. So I can do that. But in the meantime, everybody go and pre-order this book because you're going to want it. GetoverIgotit.com. Can men read this book? Like, are they allowed?
Absolutely. I hope men read this book so they can understand the women in their lives. Whether relationship, mom, sister, whoever. Know why she's struggling to ask for support.
Perfect. Don't go anywhere, please.
Don't go anywhere. We're going to bring you back. We got some questions for you. We're going to grab Alicia Cunningham in just one half a second. I knocked myself off the stream because I'm awesome.
Chip says you tried Googling and your computer exploded.
Oh, yeah. No. You know what? I was biting the insides of my mouth because I'm still not going to say it. About babies dangling off people while they're doing yoga.
Oh, boy.
It sounds like a white people thing to do.
I'm not doing it. I'm like super white.
Well, you got breastfeeding age babies.
It.
Your kids get hanging off you. That's a whole other call. Let's call Alicia.
I was just surprised the whole thing like worked at all. I was
like, it does work.
This feels like an old wives' tale.
What do you do, dangling dog instead of downward dog? That's no good. Little kid. No.
It sounds like at some point it's going to hurt.
I'm bringing Alicia on. We're going to talk about her documentary because that's a better
plan.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Chris Harry.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me.
We are thrilled. You have a new film coming out. You have all kinds of stuff that you've been working on. We have so many ways that we have to ask you so many questions. But let's start with the movie. I was going to bring up the trailer, and I just like totally trashed my browser entirely. So I'm stalling for a second.
Yeah, that's okay.
Tell us a little bit about how you got to I Am More Than My Hair. Tell us about how you got to this place in your world that you needed to make this documentary.
Yes, so I initially came up with the idea. It was initially I Am Not My Hair, but because of India Irie song, I didn't want it to be the same title. But I came up with the idea after doing a big chop. So I don't know if you know what a big chop is. So it's when you cut your hair and your hair gets donated, and the proceeds for the hair is donated to an organization. And I donated it to, supported Zuri Works. My daughter's name, my youngest daughter, happens to be Zuri. And they raised proceeds for women of color for the medical treatment of cancer. And to my surprise, the response, I got so many negative comments from everyone. You know, everybody has something to say. And I also heard a lot of Bible verses, and I didn't realize that there are many Bible verses in the Bible that about women and no hair or losing our hair, having and they connect it to being cursed.
Like a punishment. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a punishment for losing your hair or not having hair, being bald. And I, in response to, there was one lady actually that was speaking to me with her daughter, and she told me that, you know, I don't know why you cut your hair because you should have waited until after your book launch, which was around that time, my first book, Feminine Transitions. And, you know, and she said that a woman's hair is her strength. So in response, while her daughter is standing there, I said, would you tell your daughter that she's no longer beautiful if she lost her hair? So she's thinking, and she's trying to figure out how she respond to that. And I'm thinking, as she's thinking, like, you know what, I should do a project. So that's how I ended up coming up with the idea.
Isn't it amazing how people just tell you what you should do with your hair in your life? And
everything. You know, when you have one kid, they're like, why don't you have two? You have two kids, and it's like, you need to have a boy and girl. And when you have two, because I have three, and they're like, oh, it's too many.
I have two boys, and my sister-in-law's always like, don't y'all want a little girl? And finally I said, not unless my next husband has one. And then she's like, no more. She doesn't ask me anymore.
Right.
No more questions, Your Honor.
Right.
Well, I want to show the trailer, so I want to pop this up and make it work. So let me see if I can get this going here, and well, I'll get a chance to listen in on it. There's always this like really small, awkward transition moment where I push play and can't go full screen.
I didn't notice at first that the first woman you showed didn't have any hair because her face is so beautiful.
Right.
That's the
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah, it is. And you actually get when I realized that without hair, you actually get to see the beauty,
And then,
know.
but then the next person, you could see how sad she was, and that's the first thing I noticed about her.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
heartbreaking. So,
Yeah.
how many women altogether did you feature in the movie?
Oh, in the movie, I featured a total of 8 women and 7 women, 1 little girl. Gracie, who's there, she was a 7-year-old. But I interviewed in total, because it's a book and a film. It was a book that evolved into a film. It was about 54 women in total. But then some chose to be in the film, some chose just to be in the book.
That's interesting. What made them decide they weren't going to go to the video, for instance? What made them say, I feel okay, but not that okay, or whatever? Or how did that process work?
So they just did not. I know the biggest thing was a nervousness. They felt like they'd rather just have a still photo.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just gave them an option. You can do both, or you can do one.
That makes
You
sense.
could see, even without anybody speaking, you could see the vulnerability some of them
Yes.
were feeling in that moment.
Right. And also keep in mind that some of the women, like their close family members and even the husbands, weren't even aware that they were dealing with hair loss. So a lot of this was a platform for them to come out and say, this is what I've been dealing with for so many years. And this is a wig. It's not, I've been
Your
wearing a wig
husband
for all
didn't
these years.
realize that
Didn't
wasn't
realize.
their hair?
Yeah, and I was surprised. I was shocked, but yeah, they didn't realize that it wasn't their hair. It was a handful of
I
women.
feel like you have bigger
Yeah.
issues. Your husband doesn't realize that your hair is a wig, but
Oh yeah, but then again, I just feel like everybody deals with challenges differently. So and it is a part of
I
being
meant
vulnerable.
the husband, like for not
Oh,
noticing.
okay.
I'm not
Yes.
judging the women. I'm saying you think
Okay.
the husband would like notice.
Yeah, that's what I would think. I'm like, don't you realize? But
Nah,
I don't know.
that's probably not true. My husband would be like,
Yeah.
your hair has never looked better, and I'd be like, son of a.
Right.
That's probably what happened.
Catching hands
That is
later.
so true.
That's what does it. Alicia, this feels like it goes beyond this, though. I mean, especially when you tie this with your other book, and your other projects. There's kind of a, I don't know. It's not the Star Wars trilogy, but there's a bit of an arc here. Feminine transitions. I am more than my hair. What are you getting at? What's your you that you need to get out there, and what's the story we're telling on the bigger way?
Well, the story, initially, I just was going to local schools and having conversations about beauty and the media and just really making people understand that you might not be aware of it, children in particular, but a lot of what you see is a lie. And a lot of what we've been fed and have been pushed, pretty much shoved down our throats, billboards, magazines, TV, makeup, even the anti-aging thing, which drives me crazy. It's just about money, so it's really about learning how to empower yourselves, including everyone, because it starts in the household. So for women who've had maybe moms or even dads that might feel like, hey, you can't step out the house without your mask on, which is my face on. I hear that a lot. And just really learning to feel empowered beyond what we've been taught or have been told, and learning just to love yourself, naturally. And then you can make a decision from there, what you want to do. But just understand that first.
It seems like it's amazing that it's only just the last handful of years that people like Alicia Keys say, I'm not going to wear makeup anymore. I'm done. I'm good with this. She looks so good. She looks wonderful. I mean,
Yeah,
every time you see her, you go, what? And then Jamie Lee Curtis said the same thing. Jamie Lee Curtis said, I'm over this thing. I got to show people that like it's okay. Why are there only 2? How come it's still this way? I mean, there's multiple billions of dollars at stake. Is that what it is that's still holding all these women down?
Right. Yes, it is. And I think a lot of the women are also connected to, a lot of celebrities in particular, have contracts with makeup companies. So they can't go against the grain, because then if you're going against the grain, you're just cutting your check, Yeah.
I saw that you're also looking into making some horror films.
Yes, I love horror.
Me too. Tell me about it.
Yes. So I actually wrote my first horror feature. I wrote it, now I'm going through and I'm editing. I'm going back over and doing some corrections, making sure that the plot is connecting. But
I think the 90s are calling if you need to grab that.
oh yes, it's my mother. So I'm in Florida visiting my mom. She suffered a stroke.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. She's a strong woman, second stroke, and she's just me and my daughters are here helping her out. And actually, what Elayne was talking about, I can relate to, because my mom suffers I feel like it's a women's disease of not wanting any help. So like, well, I'll come and help even if you don't want it. Yeah.
But if you're not asking for it.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
who are your horror mentors? Like, who do you have to make this film? Who has to be proud of this film when they see it and you would lose your mind? Like, who's
Oh, actually, my ideal, the person who I really want to work with is oh my gosh, us. I can't remember his name right now.
Jordan Key? Jordan
Peele. Yes, Jordan Peele, right?
Jordan Peele. I always get
Jordan
it wrong.
Peele. Monkey Paw Productions. So that is really where I saw it going. At the lead characters I saw is can I remember her name now? Insecure. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about.
Oh, I know this. I know
Issa
the
Rae.
movie. Issa Rae, right?
And then Rodriguez. I can't remember her last name, but Rodriguez was the lady who was in Avatar. She's like badass.
Michelle Rodriguez.
Latina. Yes, Michelle Rodriguez. Right. Yes.
She'd be
Yes,
great.
I imagine those two, but it's like it takes place on, they go into a retreat and they find out it ends up being a cult. It's a long story, but
Ooh.
connected to one has a psychic power and just trying to get out that cult. Pretty much like a cult.
You're making
All
a
right.
marketing retreat. I mean, it's the same thing.
There you go.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, so I already
Yeah.
got a bone to pick with you. You said Us, not Get Out.
Oh, I forgot to say I couldn't think of Get Out.
Well, okay, because I was going to say like I think a lot of people would like to think Us didn't happen.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
bless Winston Duke in that movie. It really gave him another chance to show that he's more than just Wakanda. But
Right.
and Winston
Yeah.
Duke, has done plenty of work, but that was another good primary tempo.
Right.
But
Yeah.
Get Out really changed the conversation.
Yeah.
So-
It really did. Yeah. Love that movie.
Wow, look at you
Yeah.
from documentary to horror. I mean, that's going to be a big change when it comes to you having to set that sort of project up. What do you think you have to? Let's do what Elayne does. You got to get some help from some people. Who do you got to
Yes.
bring in to make you the best horror maker ever?
Oh, well, I'm going to actually direct this. So I'm going to need a lot of help. I'll need maybe like 2 other shooters, cinematographers. And then also I need someone to do the artist who can do the sketching. So I need a storyboard.
Storyboard art, yeah.
Yes. And I'll go from there. I'm going to go to Garrett County, Maryland, which is where it kind of starts. They have a heavy history of racism there. They still have the sign up that says "Welcome to Negro Mountain," which is where it's based off of.
Wow.
And I'll go from there. I figured by next year, 2022, or the end of this year is when I'll get started. Yeah.
Can we talk about Real Moms? This sounds intriguing.
Yes. So Real Moms I wanted to get other mothers together because it's a lot more challenging as you're trying to juggle everything, and wear multiple hats as a mother in film and television. So I figured if I was able to organize a group, and I did it with Women in Film and Video. Melissa is the executive director, and she allowed the platform for me to be able to host virtual now because we can't meet in person.
Right.
Where moms and dads are welcome to, but that are in the film and TV industry, to come together and talk about our challenges. I do now monthly film under 2-minute challenges, so it has to be. I give a monthly topic, which this month is unplug, and you have to include it somehow in your under 2-minute film. It can be a word, it can be somebody can say it, it can be you can say it on the screen or whatever the case is, and so every month is a different theme. Yeah.
I'm
Naz
already
is
making
like,
mine.
what? How is that sign still there? I think we all share that sentiment.
Right.
So for people who don't know what a WIFV is, because I sure didn't, I thought you misspelled wife. What is
Okay.
WIFV?
Women in Film and Video.
Video. Yes.
I know that. Thank you.
Well, if you knew, why did you ask? I don't know.
Because those guys, they just
Right.
wandered in. They're not in film and video. And Kate Colgan, the answer is thank you because yes, I am.
Oh, yes.
Yes, right.
Thank you. So, wow.
You want me to just leave that one up, or?
Well,
That's
no.
nice.
I mean, I'm just going to get a tattoo of it later. Alicia, listen, you mentioned briefly the virtual thing, and we're looking at, all these theaters thinking about what are we going to do for a living? We're going to have to shut down. There's all this
Right.
shenanigans going on. And it's easy to think of some businesses how they're going to rebuild after all this. The best that Carrie and I had a conversation about this. What would you do? What would you do? And the best she had was kind of like, all VIP boxes, where you kind of all self-contained. But the thing I was trying to think of I love movie theaters, and so does Carrie. We
So do
both
I.
go to lots of movies in the theater. And I thought, what do I need at that theater that I don't get at my house? And there's only one answer I have besides delicious popcorn, overpriced. I need people to scream, just like in horror movies. Like I need that audience to be like, "Don't go back in that room! Don't go back in that room!"
Yes.
And we can't get that if we're all in our little
No.
boxes. What do you think
Yeah.
about that? What do you think about theater going forward? You filmmaker, you.
Yeah, it's the interaction, then it's really socialization as well. All being in the theater, and actually the theater in I'm in Maryland. I'm in Florida now, with my mom, but in Maryland,
That's where
one
you're
of the
from.
biggest theaters, right, shut down. So Regal Theater, and they're no longer coming together. So it's sad, and I hope that would change. And I think that maybe with some spacing that will help it. Maybe just redesign the theater, give it a little extra spacing, not so many people. I don't know how that's going to work with some people wanted to go to the movie theater, though.
They've
so
been doing that some with recliners and things, which just take
yes,
up more space by the nature
right,
of like how they are. So
yes,
maybe
right,
more like that.
yeah, more like that. It'll
$50
sell out
movie
faster.
visit, though,
I
Ask
know.
Dr. Bitcoin joins us over on Twitch. Hello, Twitch viewers. I wonder if Stubble Judge is hiding out there today. I miss hearing the laughter or the whoops of joy in a theater.
I really do. So the
Yeah,
last
so do
movie
I.
I saw in the theater, I want to say, was The Gentleman, and my mother fell asleep. So it was one of those recliner situations. I have a little video. I did not post it, but I have a little video I sent to my stepfather, who's since passed away. But I sent him a video of her snoring in the theater. I was like,
That sounds like my mom.
guess she didn't like it.
I have two theater noise stories that slightly relate. One is I watched Avengers Endgame in my little small town theater here, very small, very intimate. And one girl, like, I don't want to give away the movie in case someone hasn't seen Endgame, but a character dies, and so this girl starts crying. She doesn't stop crying though, and finally this guy goes, "Could you just get over it?" It's just like, jeez.
Well, like he's had time to adjust. Like
But it was like,
it just happened for everybody.
scene in the movie, but no, like some scenes had passed, and this
Oh,
girl,
right.
Oh, okay.
and she's
She's
still like,
crying.
Oh.
like, I don't know. I'm guessing something triggered. I don't know if it has anything to
Right.
do with them screaming.
Well, it depends how old we're talking about. If the little girl's 5, that guy can shut the hell up. If the little girl's 17, okay. I
Yeah,
get it.
time to stop crying. Right.
And then my other
Spoilers.
movie theater story like this is I went to a Friday the 13th movie back in the day, and my little brother, it was high school times. My little brother was a little bit more mouthy than he could. He wrote a lot of checks he couldn't cash. And we were in an audience that we absolutely carry. We were in an audience that there were maybe 8 white people, and we were 5 of them. And people get really loud in horror movies, and it turns out Latin culture really gets loud in horror movies. They get very excitable. So a lot of nice Dominican. My neighborhood was Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, a few black people.
My finger's
And
hovering on that yellow card. So
you can
keep
yellow
talking.
card me all you want, but
Okay.
this is my little brother's moment.
Okay.
This guy yells you can hear his energy. He's so like, "Don't go in there. You know he's gonna be in there. Don't go in there." And my brother yells, "Yeah, like she's gonna hear you."
Oh no.
And I thought, we're gonna die. We're gonna die today at a movie theater because I'm a stupid little brother.
It actually sounds like my neighborhood. I grew up in Queens, in
Okay.
Corona. So is that the same area?
No, this is
Oh.
this is Massachusetts where we all hide our
Massachusetts.
racism.
Oh, okay.
So, Lawrence, Mass. So.
Naz is talking
Oh,
about his
okay.
favorite Brooklyn Heights cinema. So
It just
I grew
got
up on
torn
Cape
down.
Cod, and we had a little one-screen movie theater in our town. Like, well, that was it. From like back in the days of the cinematograph. Like, that's how long things have been there. So long. I saw Back to the Future there, I remember. And
Oh,
now
wow, I
it's
saw
like
Back
a CVS now. It's
And they
really
filmed it in
sad.
real time. All right,
Really sad. You shut up.
we're grabbing Elayne Fluker. We're going to bring her back on. We'll have a little panel. Hey, Elayne, welcome back.
Hey, that was great.
So,
So this is so interesting because while you were talking, Alicia, I was thinking about Elaine's book and how she talks about dropping the mask as well. So I'm like, oh, there's so
and
many.
you talked
common
about the fact that
threads.
these people are told they can't leave their house without that other mask before this mask.
Right. And so I think there's a lot, and you were talking about needing support as well to get documentary films and other types of films made, and how we were talking about how women don't want to do that. So I don't know. It just works out that this happened. I wasn't like, hey, these two would be great together.
Oh wow.
It's
It
all
just-
your genius.
Right.
No, it's luck. It's pure luck. And you. So, Elayne, do you think there's anything uniquely challenging about women in entertainment asking for support? Like, are they a little more kind of under the
Oh.
microscope?
I don't know. You know, women in entertainment, at least the ones I know, everyone in the industry has teams, some kind of team, right? You're a publicist, you're this, you're that, if you're already in it. So it might actually be a little bit, I won't say easier, but more common to have support. I remember, I mean, this is ancient history, but in 2006 or so, I started a personal assistant agency for celebrities. It's a business I wish I kept going. I didn't know back then that you could sell a bit. I don't want to talk about that. I don't know why you guys brought that up. So anyway, but
What's wrong with you, Elayne?
that is trauma for me. But long story short, back then people would contact each other, call each other, and say, you know, so and so celebrity is looking for an assistant. There wasn't social media. You didn't post it anywhere for sure. And I just remember being like, wow, people in LA have assistants in their house. Like it was very much part of the culture. I don't know now, but at that time. So yeah, all that to say, I just think those folks might be more used to having a team of people to help them.
No, I'm sure they like doing their own laundry now. I'm definitely sure that's changed.
Exactly. And I'm like, that was a long time ago, but I'm like, dude, this is a thing.
This is ancient history.
I know, exactly.
Light words.
This last year has been some of the worst 25 years of our lives.
Exactly.
Luck.
Yeah.
This was luck.
I'm so glad I tell my wife and daughter that they're beautiful in the morning before any makeup.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just
That
luck,
is so
Naz.
important. So
Yes,
important.
I always say it's so important to tell your daughters that before they start feeling like I'm ugly, I'm not pretty.
Yes.
Like if you're countering it like, no, honey, you're beautiful. It just
Right.
isn't as effective as just hearing it as natural.
That's right. It makes a big difference.
Tell every kid in their house that they're good looking. You know, I think about that all the time. I think about the fact that someone had to tell Christopher Wallace how good looking he was all the time.
Who's Christopher Wallace?
Notorious B.I.G.
Oh.
Oh, we're like, ooh, that's
Right.
Alicia,
pardon me,
shame on
ladies.
us.
I know, right? I was like, wait a minute. Like, that
Just
sounds
say
familiar.
Biggie.
Oh, right.
All I know
Allow
is
me to
Actor?
educate you on
Was
some
he in
research.
Avengers? Who is that?
Oh, no. I do
Yeah, there's a
worry,
lot of Chris's in the Avengers.
Right.
I do worry
That's
about
right.
people and the children taking on other people's expectations about appearance. So when my kids were little, my youngest had like a little tummy, and a woman said something about it, like, "Look at that belly," and I said, "I know, it's perfect." I was just like,
Oh, yeah.
That's a great way
Nice.
to respond. That's a
Believe
great
it.
response.
and you know what? He's got a great self-esteem. He doesn't care at all what other people think about him. I'm not taking credit for it, but I'm very happy about it. So
Yeah,
Thank
you.
that counter message makes a big
Yep.
difference.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna, in case you forget him, there.
Yes.
Right there.
We need to say Biggie. I'm
AKA
from New
Biggie.
York too.
I
Right.
love it when you call me Big Pop.
was he in
Right.
Avengers?
Oh my gosh. Looks like it sounds familiar.
Chris does this all the time. Chris uses song lyrics, and like some people get it, but some people don't, and they'll just
He
treat
says
like what
Biggie
he
song
said.
lyric.
Oh, yeah, all
Anything,
the time, but
anything,
you know,
anything song
You
lyrics,
don't.
and
This is
people will
not-
treat it like a serious question.
it's not my show about me.
And
But
I'm like,
here's
oh,
the thing,
no,
I was-
another one fell for it.
I was coming up in the 80s, coming up in the 90s, and 80s and 90s music is my thing. And along the line, I realized that heavy metal wasn't cutting it for me. Like, I didn't want to hear about dragons and swords and all demons and stuff like that. It just wasn't really connecting. So I discovered hip hop. When I say discovered, there's like 5 people of color in my entire high school. Like, I didn't have anyone to talk hip hop with. And this is back when you had to go to a store and buy your product. Right. So I started with the classics like NWA. I became a big fan of Jay-Z, Tribe Called Quest, all those kinds of bands. And so
He's
I
that
good
guy in
music.
Office Space.
Look at you.
I sneak all of these hip hop lyrics into interviews and stuff like that with grown up marketers, almost always white, and they'll be like nodding along as I'm saying, whatever. But I'll do it in this show too. I'll just say, well, let's get back to the subject. Pep's on the set.
Get hot. Make it right.
See?
Yeah, now that I have the context, I'm with you. I'm all
Right.
about 80s and 90s hip hop.
Yeah, like now you're
Same thing.
attuned to
Now
it,
I'm waiting
but
for it. Exactly.
other people
Right.
are like, "Oh, we're talking about my nonprofit," and he's like spouting song lyrics, and they're like,
dropping a
I
Jay-Z
don't-
lyric.
"If you don't know, now you
Now
know."
you know.
Exactly.
And really, all lyrics are suspect anyway. I'll put anybody in there. I'll even use the management coach Rob Van Winkle. He said stop. He also said we should collaborate, which is what Elayne's whole book is about. And listen. He said stop, collaborate, and listen.
You're killing me.
See, Ice is back. He's got a
Killing
brand new
me.
invention.
Wait, I don't know
Oh.
My ice
Ice Kid.
baby.
that. That's why we didn't know
Ice
that
Ice.
one.
That's right.
Oh, yes.
Vanilla Ice.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I didn't listen to Vanilla Ice either.
management coach
Yeah.
Rob Van Winkle. Otherwise
All right.
known as
Oh,
Vanilla
that's
Ice.
his real name. I'm so
Yeah,
slow.
that's his
See,
real
he
name.
left
really?
to do that. Oh yeah,
Oh,
it's never
okay.
enough to do an inside joke. He's got to go for the
No.
inside.
He's got to go for the Wikipedia version of the joke. You had to have
Because
researched
they
him.
sneak up on you that way, right?
It's good.
Yeah,
it's
but like
good.
45
Wiki
minutes
has-
later, when the show's over, I'll Google
I
it and be like,
know.
oh,
Oh,
now I get it.
right.
Oh,
You
that's
got to get
interesting.
that money, dollar bill, yo. So listen,
They
here we
Stop
go.
it. I will.
Oh, and here's our person of the day. Kaboom!
I will yellow card you.
I'm
Just
giving it to
for
Dr.
that.
Bitcoin. I'm giving it to my man Risen. That's what I'm doing. Because he knew who I meant. But there we go. That's
So
our person of
because
the
he
day.
gets your jokes, you're gonna give it to him.
This,
Okay,
This
I
is
guess
my
it's
empire.
legit.
Nepotism.
Fine.
No
You
good
write the
reasons.
rubric.
I could
Okay.
be the other next president who makes all the bad choices. I'm ready.
We don't need another one right now.
All right. We have one last question.
Yeah,
I
we
realized we didn't ask you this question ahead of time, so you're doomed. So we ask every single guest this one question, which is what goes in your backpack? It could be something physical. It could be something metaphorical. 5-time beatbox world champion Butterscotch said a banana because that's what beatboxers need to make that good, you know?
Yeah, it was interesting.
Random trivia.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
We learned a lot. This is what
Yeah.
so we bring people on the show that have experience doing things we've never done and know nothing about, and then come away knowing something like that. It's really one of my favorite things.
So when you want to practice your
Cool.
beatbox to teach your kids, you eat a banana.
Need a banana.
All right. All right.
Carrie, what's one of your favorite physical items that's in the backpack?
Extra set of teeth.
DJ Cumberbutt said an extra set of teeth.
Tea.
Teeth.
He's a mashup artist, like a remix artist on YouTube, and that's what he said.
He also really loves pro wrestling
Really?
a lot, so he figured that
Ah,
extra
Just
teeth might
in
be
case.
helpful.
To paint the picture, he was wearing like a full-on bright colored suit and like a cool hat, and like he's a crazy dude. And so when that came out of his mouth, it took me a couple seconds to put the words together. Like, what do you,
how do you respond
I'm
to
like,
that?
huh?
Yeah,
And then I realized what he said and was like, of course he would say that.
Oh,
But so that
wow.
was one of my favorites because I thought it was really funny. My other favorite physical one was Whiskey Nate, who said a book you hate. Because like if it's the only book you have, you're eventually going to read it and get something out of it.
So is this backpack if I'm on a deserted island? Or is this my backpack I'm rolling with?
Your
Here in
backpack for
Decatur, Georgia.
success.
The next
Oh,
5
right.
years, the next
Oh.
5 years, what are you going to put in this thing that other people can use for their success? It could also be something metaphorical, by the way. So Horacio Garcia Rojas, a Mexican comedy horror actor, said pride, as in Mexico pride. He doesn't ever want to be an LA actor. He wants to be a Mexico City actor.
Nice.
And
I
then
got it.
Ariel Helvetica, a burlesque performer, said kindness.
You said
okay.
it backwards this time. That's so funny. There's a secret story there, but I'm not bringing it up because our regular faithfuls know. All right, let's go with Alicia first.
Okay.
Alicia Cunningham, what goes in the backpack?
Backpack for success. I would say I've had to learn as I've gotten older. I'm 42 now. To make time for myself. That's really, really important for me to recharge. So for me, outside of all the multiple hats and the businesses and mom, wife, everything else, I make sure I carve out time for me. When I go hiking alone, sometimes I also bring my children with me, my husband, but I have my alone time and leave me during that time to be alone, to be in my own space. So I can, because it helps me to kind of recharge and, and hear my own thoughts.
I like
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
So time for yourself.
Yes. So, yep. Time for
I
myself.
like it.
Very important.
That's a really.
If not, I would be a grouchy mom, and I don't want to be a grouchy mom. So let me just hang up on myself a little bit. Yeah.
Elayne, we need to know what is going to go in your backpack.
You ready for this high-tech situation to go in your
I'm
backpack?
ready.
Post-its and write little love notes to yourself, right? So one of the things you can write is, I am enough. We all need to be reminded of that sometimes. I embrace joy. I deserve support. I'm good looking like Chris Brogan. Whatever you need to put on here, just put it on here, put it in your backpack, and whenever you need them, just take them out. Love notes to yourself. So I would want a bunch of Post-its.
I would like to have hair as nice as Chris Brogan when he washes it in like corn syrup or whatever the hell's lying around the house. Like,
Luxurious
like every
lives.
guy in the house is like, I don't know, I just used the dial soap because it was all I had, and the hair is perfect. And then we have all these expensive hair products, and it's like,
I know.
This
it's
is
all
this is
marketing.
cranberry juice. I didn't even have shampoo.
unbelievable.
I love Post-it notes. That's a great idea because mine would say things like, floor 3, parking slot 44 because I can't find my car.
No, you actually did an
Exactly.
event.
I
I think
posted.
you spoke at a social
Full of
media moms
Post-its.
event at Disney and had Post-its on every table that said like ask, do, and share.
I did. I
Ah,
did. Because those are so I do this thing every year, the very beginning of the year, called My 3 Words. So instead of setting a New Year's resolution, which invariably end on January 19th, which is an important historical birthday, I say pick 3 words that you can sort of triangulate your life with. And my most successful every year was 2006 for using this process. And the 3 words were ask. So always ask for help, ask for things, ask for people. So it's right in Elayne's book. Do. So go out and just do the thing because, like you said about making it hard and easy to be helpful. If you don't go out and make films, how are you going to know what you don't know about making films? So do.
That's right.
And then share. Let me show you what I did. Maybe you can give me some pointers. Maybe you can tell me what I could do different next time. Ask, do, and share. So I was teaching those moms at Disney, social media moms. Maybe that'd be useful. Not teaching. I was sharing some ideas they probably already had that they hadn't thought about lately.
Nice. And that was 2006. That was a
Well,
good year.
no. That was 2006 was when I did Ask You Share. The year that I went and hung out with them was either 2009, 2010. That was fun too. I met a supermodel, Kathy Ireland. I met Build a Bear
Great
chairman,
businesswoman.
Maxine Clark. So it was a beautiful day.
Nice.
But one
love
thing I
it.
was thinking
And
about
he had
with
better hair than
regards-
Kathy Ireland, which like pissed her off.
She was very sad. It was, it's what everybody was talking about. But speaking about things like I am more than my hair and different views on beauty and stuff like that, Kathy Ireland says people think I'm this attractive. Everyone just gives me money and the business just runs. People are giving me zero credit for getting my business up to $1 billion. $1 billion is a lot of money.
Amazing.
Anybody, she says, it's a lot of money for me. I don't have $1 billion. She goes, I made $1 billion in revenue. And she said, and you're thinking over there, oh, yeah, well, you're really pretty and you're a supermodel. And of course, she goes, I was sleeping in the Atlanta airport on a bench just like anybody else who didn't get their hotel in time. And I was, sleeping out there just like any other person. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't sleep out in I don't sleep in the benches in Atlanta airport. So bless her heart.
yeah.
But all right, listen, one thing I was thinking about though, the only other supermodel I ever met in my life was my grandmother. That was one attractive lady. And the one cover shot she ever did for any magazine